His Royal Majesty, Nana Otunfo Osei-Tutu II, Nanano, the Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academics and staff of KNUST, the MPs and Ministers of State, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's an honor to stand before you this morning to give my thoughts on war and diplomacy, especially from the perspective of women. There is an Akan proverb which says that Oba Totua Etrebe Madem. In 1874, an Elmina-born British envoy, Henry Plange, made provocative threats to the Ashanti Kofi Kakari and the chiefs during the discussion of the British takeover of all Dutch concessions, including the Elmina Castle. Obviously irritated by this, the Asantehima Efiakobi retorted, "I am only a woman, but I would fight the governor with my left hand." These two statements mentioned above provokes an inquiry into an understanding of the place of women in Asante state military structure. How do we reconcile the Asante proverb mentioned with the above statements made by Nana Efiakobi? What specific roles did women play in the Asante military setup? In which ways did religious and cultural beliefs hinder women from full participation in state war machinery? The 18th century were times of state union, expansion, consolidation for the Asante, and a constant feature which facilitated this process was war. Asante embarked on wars for political, economic, and ideological purposes. Analyzing the etymology of Asante, linguists equate the name Asante with war. Kwejo Osei, a known historian, gives two traditions to this effect. The first states that Asante emanates from the name Esan, which simply means war. So Asantefo is the corrupted form of Esa Entifo. The second tradition also states that Asante was a vassal of Dentra, and Asante used to supply Dentra with red clay, which was known as Esan, used for building of houses. The people became known as Esantefo, which was corrupted to become Asantefo. It is essential to iterate here, especially joining into the conversation of Edu, who states that war essentially elevated men over women. After the Battle of Eyase, Nana Osei-Tutu I divided the states politically into different military duties. There was the Adonten, Trafo, Benkum, Nifa, Chidom, Jase, and the Ankobia. All these positions were occupied by men. Though theoretically, the Ohima, that is the co-ruler of the Ohene, could serve as the head of state in the absence of the king. I am then moving on to look at women in the founding of Asante. It is important to highlight the role played by the female ancestress in the founding of Asante. The Oyoko tradition indicates that Anchewenyame and her people descended from the sky near Esiakwa in Achimebuakwa. There is also another tradition which indicates that they descended near Asante Manso. Similar traditions are given by other matric clans, including Nyankopon Gweshia for the Bretu, Aso Bode for the Asuna, Amena Jata for the Asenie, and Sena Fontom for the Eduana. This explains the matrilineal system and why the genealogical descent is traced through the female line. At the core of the socio-political organization was the Abusia, headed by the Abusia Penyi and the Oba Penyi. The Ohene and Ohima at the highest level of state organization played complementary roles in leadership. The political status was conferred by the Ohima, who also served as the royal genealogist to determine the legitimacy of claims made to any vacant stool. And this accounts for the Akan proverb, Oba na Owo Ohene. We are moving on then to look at women and war. Women played crucial roles in war politics in Asante. Nevertheless, their roles are largely ignored and underrated due to Asante's religio-cultural beliefs attached to war and gender. It is important to emphasize that childbearing women did not engage in frontline warfare, not because of their physical inadequacies, but because of the fear of menstrual contamination. Menstruation inhibited women's political progression because of the cultural beliefs attached to it. Though menstrual blood was considered a source of fertility, menstruating women were considered ceremonially unclean. They could not attend social activities in the community, participate in religious ceremonies, honoring their ancestors, visit the chief's court, or associate with any male government official. Menopausal women, however, were free from these menstrual taboos, enabling them to take part in ritual, social, and political activities. For an Asante menopausal woman, it was significant because it meant a shift from the normal life to become a respectable elder, Oba Penyin. Old women acquired elderly privileges such as the right to cut their hair, the dancing crown, wear their cloth in the male fashion, drink liquor, pour libation, and engage in frontline war. Despite these limitations, women played crucial roles in war in Asante. One of the crucial roles seen is the ritual known as the Momome. This was a spiritual warfare in which premenopausal and menopausal women performed daily ritual chants, ritual dancing, mimes, and other spiritual performances to enhance the victory of the military in war until the troops returned. These women sometimes pounded empty mortars with pistols as a form of spiritual torture to Asante's enemies. Women also played female captains and the Asafotrema, who were a type of a rear guard. They provided military support services in times such as scouts, carriers, cooks, and provided war logistics. Women provided useful intelligence on strategies and troops of the enemy states. I go ahead to highlight the contribution of three Asante Hima who played very key roles in the history of Asante. These are Efiakobi, Yecha, and then Yasantua. Efiakobi's skill in war and diplomacy is seen in her administrative tact, boldness in the era of crisis in Asante. She was also known as a pacifist and a great woman of a great shrewdness, who projected the unification of Asante above the love for war. On 20th November 1873, at the gathering of the Asante man in Shiemu, she noted to have said, "From olden times, it has been seen that God fights for Asante if the war is a just one. This one is unjust. I am old now. I lived before Kwekudria, and I have now placed my son on the Asante throne. I do not wish for our ancestors to say my son was the cause of the disturbance of the 60 towns." The council of the military generals superseded hers, leading to the 1874 Sagranti War with the British, in which Asante was defeated. Nana Kofi Kakari's lack of tact, acumen, and indecision eventually cost him the throne. When Efiakobi found one of Kofi Kakari's wives wearing the gold ornament used to bury the deceased Queen Mother, she initiated his deposition, and in his place, Mensa Bonsu was appointed as the Asante Hene. So this ties in with what Professor McCaskey said earlier, that when he was enthroned, he misused state resources. In this instance, it can be said that she sought to project her self-interest above in the choice of rulers, because for the second time, she put her own son on the throne. To secure the election of her younger son, Mensa Bonsu, as the next Asante Hene, Nana Efiakobi forged alliances with powerful chiefs, including Bantamahene Nana Ewuwa II and Kokofuhene Nana Yaobeko. Nevertheless, her own daughter, Yechan, overthrew and exiled her together with her son, Kakari, in 1884. Efiakobi is remembered for her dedication to maintaining the ascension of her lineage in Asante. I move on then to look at Yechan. Yechan became the greatest rival of Efiakobi as she ousted her own mother in 1884. She was known to be a ruthless ruler. She secured the arrest of Kakari in 1884 and ordered his execution. Over 200 Kakari's kindreds were also annihilated in the process, though eventually he was spared. Unfortunately, Kwekudria II reigned for only 44 days. After his death, Yechan fought for the stool for her son, Prempeh I. Supporters of her opponents, that is, Atrebuana, such as Butuakwa, Ochiame, Jobin, and Samahene Echampon were all executed in the process. This led to a prolonged war of 4 years. Within the period, she assumed the role as a rival ruler of Asante and took possession of the golden stool so that no opponent could be enthroned. In Asante norms and value systems, the accumulation of wealth played a key role in power struggle. Yechan was a wealthy trader who used her money to finance the ambitions of her children. As a known wealthy woman, Yechan deployed her resources liberally. It was known that she bought loyalty using land. She also acquired a large supply of Snider rifles and ammunition to aid her self-ambition. As a result, she was given the title Oba Berima. Yechan remained resolutely opposed to British diplomatic missions, including Griffin, Hodgson, and Maxwell. This explains why she was targeted for exile together with Prempeh I and other prominent Asantehene, other prominent chiefs in 1896. She died in Seychelles on 2nd September 1917 at the age of 77. I move on to the last heroine in terms of Asante history, that is Yasantua. Yasantua was a formidable-looking woman who had the slogan, "Men are not pillows for any woman to lean against." Yasantua played a pivotal role in galvanizing the Asante into action by challenging male impotency in a time of national crisis. Echampon and Obeng emphasized that her devotion to the golden stool, determination and courage contributed to making the war against the British. When her grandson, Nana Kwesi Afrane, the Dwesohene, was exiled, together with Prempeh I, by the British, she openly challenged the demands made by Sir Frederick Hodgson for the golden stool. Her devotion for the golden stool and determination contributed to the siege and guerrilla war from April to November 1900. This contributed to her famous statement, "How can a proud and brave people like the Asante sit back and look whilst the white men took away the king and the chiefs and humiliated them with a demand for the golden stool? The golden stool only means money to the white man. They have searched and dug everywhere for it. I shall not pay one prejan to the governor. If you, the chiefs of Asante, are going to behave like cowards and not fight, you should exchange your loincloths for my undergarments." For the sake of time, I'll move on to my conclusion. Within the broader framework of gender and power relations in Asante, women are highly recognized for their roles played in the continuity of their lineages. Because of the matrilineal structure of the Ashanti people, which centers on the idea that a woman passes her blood to her offsprings, this bestows on women recognized political rights. Several queen mothers did not limit their responsibilities to women and domestic affairs, but played crucial roles to enhance national sovereignty. These queen mothers defied gender stereotyping to shape Asante social and political institutions and prove the capability of women despite the religio-cultural ascribed biological limitations as compared to men. In conclusion, while women served limited roles in Asante army due to customary disqualifications and the fear of menstrual taboos, upon reaching menopause, they assumed war politics together with men. As we celebrate the 150 years since the Sagranti War occurred, it is important that we remember heroines of history, including Efia Kobi, Ya Echan, and Ya Asantua. I guess I will lastly play the devil's advocate here in probing the unsung stories of women. I wonder what the story would have been if these women had told their own stories. Had Ya Santua or Ya Echan been lettered or Western schooled, and had they similar avenues as Nana Ajimai Prempeh I while in exile, what stories would they have written about women and war? This leaves much to be desired. And I'll end by saying that as women, it bestows on us to go ahead and write our own history. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.